I'm just so sick of hearing about this. Just so completely sick of it. But the thing is, there is actually something important going on here. As the Mirror have described it, it's been utter devastation in the palace. It's like...
I mean, as to be fair to them, as much as royal scandals go, this is a big one. Because, I mean, most of the royal scandals are like, Prince Philip said a thing, and then that's a thing in the papers for like 2 days.
Yeah, but then that would actually be a legitimate allegation of racism. I mean, it would. Are you folks still throwing spears at each other? Yes, thank you for being on this diplomatic mission.
When he, they got coronated in the 50s, they probably were still throwing spears at each other in parts of the world in the Commonwealth.
Do you know that there's a cult of Prince Philip?
Yes.
Yes.
Based.
Yes. They probably do throw spears at each other. It's in Papua New Guinea.
Yeah. Got a problem with that?
No, I think it's very noble. I think they're going to be disappointed when he dies. Anyway. So as the Mirror points out, the response from the British press has been very amusing to this, in my opinion. So the palace apparently aids, because of course, as Meghan has pointed out, the media have a special relationship with the monarchy, and so they get all these insider tidbits. The palace are locked in crisis talks after these shocking revelations. The couple spent 2 hours on TV, quote, desecrating their relationship with the family, according to the Mirror. Desecrating their relationship. That's true. I mean,
that's totally true. You should not be doing interviews in public ever. Never mind on a massive radio,
especially not
on
with
massive Americans.
Oprah Winfrey.
Yeah, I mean, it's bad enough if you did it with a British outlet. But
imagine doing it with Piers Morgan.
Yeah, that would be cringe. But doing it on the more popular the outlet and the less prestige it has, the more disgusting it is.
Yeah.
And anything American is low prestige.
Yeah. From the perspective of the monarchy, yeah.
Yeah.
But again, the Mirror using this kind of language, desecrating their relationship. Like this is a moral outrage, right? This is what you have to remember. This is not just a question of, oh, are they racist? No, this is, how dare you affront the royal family and the premier institution of Britain in this way? And this is what the Americans just do not understand. This is deeply held moral feelings. Anyway. So insiders said an official inquiry would be the only answer to get to the bottom of the long list of grievances of the couple, which are racism, peddling lies, and ignoring the Duchess's desperate cries for help. Okay. One source said, I don't think anyone would have predicted or even will quantify the utter devastation this will cause. There'll be no coming back from this for Harry and Meghan. The palace needs to strike the right tone with its response rather than creating a knee-jerk reaction, which is true. And obviously the BBC is just full of these articles. If we can get to the next one, John. It's just, I mean, there must literally be a dozen articles about this on the BBC right now. And this is just one of them. This was published like 10 minutes ago. Meghan and Harry interview, urgent palace talks over claims. The royal correspondent says Buckingham Palace will not want to feel rushed into saying something, which is wise. The US Joe Biden's spokeswoman said he would praise anyone for having the courage to speak up about mental health. And White House Press Secretary Jem Psaki described Prince Harry and Meghan as private citizens who are sharing their own story with the struggles. No, they're not private citizens. They're very, very much public citizens. And these are definitely politically tinged attacks. And this is why the British press has been circling the wagons. The Daily Mail have got absolutely everything that they can thrown at Meghan, which, based. Well done, Daily Mail. Meghan's half-sister has come out against her, slamming her, as they point out. She's no sympathy for Meghan, who revealed during the shocking interview that she battled with suicidal thoughts during her time as a royal, instead accusing the Duchess of using her depression as an excuse for treating people like dish rags. Didn't you see a poll about this? I missed it. Yeah, what was the poll?
It was, British public, 56% had no sympathy whatsoever for Meghan.
Yeah. Based. Good British public. Well done. Head pats all round. Her own father has come out against her, in fact. Markle's father, again in another Daily Mail article, her estranged father Thomas denies his daughter's claims that he had betrayed her before branding his son-in-law snotty and declaring, "We all make mistakes, but I've never played naked pool or dressed like Hitler like Harry did." But that was the good part about Harry. Yeah. Mr. Markle said that he has apologised 100 times for doing a deal with a paparazzi photographer in 2018. He also denied that the royal family or Britain is racist, saying if it is true, a royal asked about how dark Archie's skin would be, it would probably be just a dumb question, and calling Meghan and Harry's claims bull, which I think is very interesting. Piers Morgan had a very negative reaction to this. Did you see this? going around. Piers Morgan had an argument with the weatherman on Good Morning Britain and lost and stormed off the set.
What?
Not even joking.
He had an argument with the weatherman.
Yeah, the weatherman was speaking up in Meghan Markle's defence.
Okay,
saying,
fair enough, yeah.
yeah, saying, I understand that you don't like Meghan, but you made it so clear a number of times in this programme, I understand that you had a personal relationship with Markle, or had one, and she cut you off, and she's entitled to cut you off. Has she said anything about you since she cut you off? I don't think she has, but you continue to trash her. And Morgan stood up and said, okay, I'm done with this. Sorry, you can trash me, mate, but not on my own show. See you later. And stormed off. I'm
not sure whose side I'm on there.
No, I'm not. God, why does Piers Morgan exist?
Yeah.
I just don't get it.
Just trying to avoid the man, to be honest. Unbearable.
Unless he's publicly embarrassing himself, in which case I'm happy to feature it. So the Telegraph, of course, did their duty for Queen and Country, saying that the Sussexes did their duty to Queen and Oprah.
Well, to Queen Oprah.
Yeah, well, yeah. But unsurprisingly, the Telegraph is very much against criticism of the monarchy. Charles Moore here doing his duty.
Well, it's also just the it's not even that. It's doing the interview itself is gross.
Yes.
So I don't know if there's a better point for me to put this in, but Hannah Gall sent me an article about this, and it's the real problem here. What she's saying is completely irrelevant. It's what she has done, the fact that she's done this. So, and the example Hannah Gall gives is right, so the whole point of the monarchy, at least one of the major points, is non-politicization in the slightest. I mean, the smallest thing is an upset. That's a story.
Yeah.
So, I mean, where does the Queen stand on Donald Trump? Does she like him or dislike him? No one has any damn clue.
We don't know, but she seemed to have a good time with him when he came to visit.
Yeah, but that's the thing. She has a good time with everyone, but you can't
that's
tell.
her job. Yeah.
You can't tell whether or not she loves him or hates him or anything like this. That's
I
the way.
bet she secretly loves him.
And yeah, the Duchess of Sussex decided that she'd avoid him when he came for a state dinner. She was invited. She said no. And then the next couple of days, she was invited again to meet him, and she said no because she was on, pregnancy leave. But yeah, 2 days after he left, she was doing public events again. I was like, okay, obvious lie. Or she'd be making covers for Vogue in which she'd list the 16 most influential women, and they're all wokeists. I was like, right, so, I mean, we know you dislike Donald Trump, and we know you're a wokist. That's not good. That's not good enough. None of that should exist if you're a royal.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, moving on, even Spiked magazine did their patriotic duty, throwing Harry under the bus. Misfit Prince doesn't like England all that much, and he's about to find out that the feeling is very much mutual. Again, it's very interesting how the battle line's been very much drawn, because, of course, if you go to the other side of the aisle, where do you think The Guardian found themselves on this?
Deaths of the monarchy, probably.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, that's it. The Guardian actually had a more temperate view on the death to the monarchy position. Obviously, they're concerned about the claims of racism, because what else is The Guardian going to talk about? The palace was under pressure to respond to allegations of racism within the highest echelons of the royal family. In the most shocking disclosure, Harry and Meghan described how someone within the household asked about the dark skin tone of their baby son Archie, and racism was a large part of why the couple left Britain, said Harry, claiming though the UK was not bigoted, the UK press, specifically the tabloids, were. Again, the archetypal example they'll give is there's one example where Kate is cradling her baby bump, and all the press are fawning, oh, look at her, she's glowing with pregnancy. And then Meghan was doing the same thing, and they were like, look at this villain, cradling a baby bump. And it's a really fair point from the position of Meghan and Harry, because it's...
No, I bet they're very cherry-picked, to be honest.
No, they're not. That's the thing. It was totally fair, right? It was like night and day. And it is the press, here's a hero, here's a villain, right? But it's not, again, about race. It's about respect for the institution. It's about respect for the procedure and the thing that has been established, the tradition. Meghan doesn't know anything about the tradition. She doesn't show any respect. And she's come in with this kind of, honestly, a kind of hoity-toity attitude, as if she's deserving of special treatment, whereas Kate has done everything that is required of a British princess.
What is it, Golden Globes, or whatever, Ricky Gervais went to and burnt them all. The people there, how they act as celebrities who are there to do a bit of activism.
Yeah.
Whereas that's not what any of the monarchy is. That's all duty.
Yeah, exactly. And so the problem that the British press have with Meghan is that she has a woke agenda, and she's not doing her duty as a princess in the monarchy should be. And this is the difference, right? It's not because of her race. It is because of the way she carries herself and the way she acts and the way that she... I don't know how to describe it, kind of the impression she's giving everyone, right? And the look she has and the actions she takes, they are not in line with the expectations that the press have. And therefore, she is a villain. And it is night and day that she's absolutely right that the coverage was not fair or anything like that. But if you're at this point expecting fair coverage from the press, my God, what world do you live in, right? Sorry, I thought you were going to say something there. So, anyway, moving on, The Independent decided to take this a step up by taking, I think, possibly the most anti-British person in Britain right now, which is Shola Mos-Shogbamimu, this racial activist, a racist activist.
She's pocket Anglophobe.
She's here to pop up and say, no, disgrace, you are English and I hate you. This is her opinion. They should be held accountable for their actions and mistakes. It's like, okay, but what have they done? What are they supposed to be held accountable? One of them asked how dark Archie would be. Well, I mean, she keeps going on about being mixed race. Maybe that is a question. Does it matter? We don't know. We haven't been given any information. And yet now it's just like, oh, well, it's racism, blah, blah, blah. Okay, you see racism in everything. It's literally your career to complain about racism all day, every day. It's every waking thought you have.
I'm trying to remember. I can't remember if it's her or not who was arguing about England being not English. She was like, this is our racist statement. And then you had Constantine sat next to her being
it was her, yeah.
What are you talking about? Like, if it was all Scottish, it would be less English as well.
Yeah.
But she had to insert race politics into that.
Of course, right, because that's what she does. But anyway, she says the truth is now out there. Racism and a lack of support from the royal family and their advisors over racist attacks and threats to their lives is what Harry and Meghan say led them to step back from senior royal duties and leave the United Kingdom. That's actually not what they said. Archie was not to be given the status, protection, or security or title afforded to his cousins, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, or Prince Louis. Yes, that's because of him being black, isn't it? Shola. Is that her name? Shola? Yeah, it is. It looks unequivocal that the royal family have treated Archie differently because of his proximity to blackness.
What? So they're not even saying it's racist, he's proximal to blackness.
Exactly. It's not that he's black, obviously, because that would be a ridiculous statement, but he has a proximity to blackness that is the reason why they've treated him differently. Now, again, as we've just gone through, I think it's actually because Archie is the product of a bastard father who has no lineal connection to the Queen. And I think that's a much more likely explanation. It could just be they're all racist, though. When it comes to Meghan Markle, let's be honest and admit one of the reasons some of the British media can do this is because a section of the British public want it. Parts of the British population drive this irrational and unjustifiable ugliness against the Duke and Duchess. So there we go. We finally get to the Britain bad. British people bad. Sections of the British public. Well, why don't you name them, Shola? Just say the English. Just say it. Because that's what you're thinking. We all know you're thinking that. Just say it. The royal family is a lot to answer for, and we deserve a full response. And even if people are supporters of the monarchy and now Queen Elizabeth, oh yeah, our Queen, is it? You're suddenly you're a British patriot, are you? Yeah, Britain rules the waves, is it, Dr. Shola? We must all remember that she nor the institution is beyond reproach. They must be held accountable, of course. And a Black Lives Matter founder called Opal Tometi has called for a boycott of the royal family.
What are you going to do? Stop using stamps?
I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm not going to marry a royal, if that's what you're asking. I mean, boycott. I would marry a royal, but I hear they're all racist. So, you know, I mean, I don't know what a boycott of the royal family even means, really. But I mean, is it boycott Britain? Like, because I would love it if Black Lives Matter would boycott Britain. But apparently, she claims that the royals do not care about black people. This is it. They don't care about black people.
They don't care about anyone but the royal family.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they care about the dominions.
Yeah,
I mean, well, maybe. But anyway, she told TMZ that people should turn their backs on the royal family, and it highlights how problematic the institution is, and added that black women like Meghan should be believed when they speak out. So cancel the royal family. Black Lives Matter, cancel the royal family. That's where we are. And so what has the Crown done about this? Well, nothing as of yet. And I have to say, I think this is the wisest move. Do nothing. You don't need to do anything, right? There is nothing that the Americans can actually take. Like for the Sun have said that the Queen has refused to sign off an official statement. Nothing's been done. Basically, a lot of people want to say, but no one wins in a tit-for-tat battle, so there's no point getting into it. And so what this comes down to is a question of legitimacy. Where does legitimacy lie? Now, it seems to me that if you're going to be talking about legitimacy, then how are you framing it? I mean, the Americans are framing it in what is the least racist, and the Brits frame it in what is the oldest and most enduring. That's the way that the Brits view these things, and so the Americans have to contest with a monarchy that goes back to Ethelstan the Glorious, the uniter of the English kingdoms in like the 9th century. Right? That's how old the British monarchy is. And if I were the British monarchs, if I were the monarchy, if I were the palace, I would just lean back into this and just say nothing. You actually, if any allegations are made, you say, sorry, they're not true, and that's all we have to say on it. We have the business of waving to crowds now and going to see the Commonwealth and helping kids in Africa and things like that. You know, you definitely should not make any rash statements. Anything that is said is essentially going to be taken and amplified by the radical left-wing press. The British press, if nothing is said, will simply return to being the lapdogs of the monarchy.
See, this is why you need to watch The Crown, because you can see this is an act of strength here. Her saying nothing. I'm pretty sure I'm paraphrasing this, but she says in I know it's monarchist propaganda, but it's great monarchist propaganda. She makes the point of like, well, the hardest thing in being the monarch is saying nothing.
Yeah.
It is the most tough thing to do and say nothing. But it is also the right thing to do more than not.
Yes, that's correct. Again, like you say, it shows strength. And
any weak person can issue a statement going, "Oh, I'm not racist."
Yeah, exactly. Don't though.
A strong person is just like, don't even care what you have to say.
Yeah, your allegations are so meaningless that I'm not even going to respond to them. I'm the queen of a country that goes back over 1,000 years. I don't care about your opinion, Americans. In fact, aren't you colonists? Like, why are we even talking to you? You know, you could have all sorts of... Anyway, but the point is, don't have any kind of response. And this is, I think, the correct thing, because, I mean, what happens if they respond? If they respond rashly, then obviously whatever is taken is going to be taken by the leftist press. The Americans will denounce the monarchy, and like that matters, I suppose. And the progressive attack of racism will have been shown to be able to crack even the toughest and oldest of institutions. And I think that's a bad move. So yeah, I mean, and the thing is, if they respond as well, then they're actually taking on quite a giant. Because not only will they be taking on the sort of American elite, represented by Oprah Winfrey, who of course is not getting their side of the story in this interview at all, but they'll also be taking on the Black Lives Matter movement, which I think they could do, and it seems that the public support would be there if more than half the public are like, to hell with Meghan Markle,
yeah. Strangely enough, we're more loyal to the monarchy than this foreign nonsense.
Yeah, and the fact that it's just the radical left-wing section of the press that is always against the monarchy anyway, and in every situation. But the Times, the Telegraph, the Sun, the Daily Mail, the Mirror, all the huge segment of the British press have defaulted to just being, and even spiked, and just like, no, monarchy good, Americans bad. It's like, okay, well, good boys. The attack won't go any further if they simply just take it on the chin. Whereas, I mean, they could fight a culture war against all of this. It would be a very difficult one. I don't think they've got the steel to do it within them, but I think they could do it. But I don't think they should do it. I think that it would be more damaging to the crown to be able to do this, whereas they could just weather this obvious nonsense and move on from it by just giving no particular statement at all. If you enjoyed this segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can watch the full broadcast live every weekday at 1 p.m. UK time on lotuseaters.com.